That student was 20-year-old Nathan Valencia. I spoke about it today with UNLV President Keith Whitfield, as well as Chancellor Melody Rose.
First, I'd say that our hearts really do go out to the family. It's a horrible tragedy, and it really has touched all of us.
UNLV President Keith Whitfield on the November 23rd death of Nathan Valencia, 4 days after taking part in a fight night fundraiser with fellow members of the Kappa Sigma fraternity. The university says Kappa Sig is under an interim suspension.
That means that they cease all of their activities for now, and that they don't interact with other student groups, that basically they just kind of stand down and let us do this process of making sure that we review everything that happened.
Whitfield says that review will run concurrent with a Nevada Athletic Commission investigation. Whitfield promises UNLV will be thorough, cooperate with the Athletic Commission, and follow up with policy changes if warranted.
I don't want to say preemptively what actions we take, because I'm not sure, but our goal is going to be to make sure that we provide as much safety and counsel, particularly for things that happen off of our campus, to our student groups, to make sure that our students are as safe as they can be, no matter where they are.
I'm heartbroken that our community has lost a student, and my heart goes out to his family and to his friends.
Chancellor Melody Rose says the Board of Regents is following this tragedy very closely, as well as the latest developments with COVID, before a vote tomorrow to permanently adopt NCHE's emergency employee vaccination policy.
And I think you will see some robust conversation. But what I would point out is that nothing really in terms of COVID, the disease, has changed. We are still in the midst of a global health crisis. We have a new variant headed our way.
The vote is likely to take place tomorrow afternoon. On a footnote, as of yesterday, 91% of UNLV's employees had complied with the vaccine mandate. 174 employees either have medical or religious exemptions, and those not in compliance have until December 31st to get the vaccine requirement or face termination.
Need a job? Get your calendar out December 7th. You got to mark it for that day. The governor's hosting a job fair at the convention center. It's another way to heal our economy, which is getting better after COVID. Throwing a little wrinkle, though, will Omicron arrive here for that? Our Jeff Gillen spoke with the governor and brings us this news story at 6.
Experts say it's not a matter of if this new variant arrives here, but when.
We offered COVID testing.
Which is why Democrat Steve Sisolak had a message this week as he toured the Nevada Health Center near Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Omicron is not just going to be in California. It's going to be here. It's going to be in Arizona. It's going to be all over the country. There's no doubt in my mind it's going to spread. It's going to continue to happen this way until we get more people immunized and get the vaccine in arms.
Omicron has now popped up in California, Colorado, and Minnesota. The head of Nevada's public health lab briefed reporters today on the situation here.
Right now, the Nevada State Public Health Lab has no detections of Omicron as of our sequencing done through yesterday. That would be positive cases that we've seen quite recently.
While there is much about Omicron we don't know, experts say vaccination most likely will offer some protection. In Nevada, 53% of those eligible, that's 5 and above, are fully vaccinated. In Clark County, it's 56%. Now, a new potentially more transmissible variant is emerging. How would you approach this if it gets really bad?
Yeah, no, it's certainly not my intention to shut anything down again. I mean, we did what we had to at the beginning of the virus when we just didn't have any vaccine. Now we have tools that can fight this.
If Omicron lives up to the hype, it could complicate our economic recovery, heavily dependent on tourism. Nevada's economy currently is on a roll. For the 8th straight month, the gaming win, the amount casinos keep from gamblers, surpassed $1 billion. October's unemployment rate sat at 7.3%, down from September and down 4% from a year ago. Still, too many are out of work, which is why the governor wanted to get the word out about his job fest.
We've got over 150 employers that are going to be there. They've got well over 10,000 jobs that are going to be available, and they're going to hire on site, which is absolutely terrific. We've got, I guess, 115,000 people out of work, but we still got 110,000 jobs. The jobs just are not matching up to the people and the job skills necessarily. So we need to do better in terms of retraining and making people available.
Job Fest is Tuesday, December 7th at the Las Vegas Convention Center.
Mystery solved. The teenage girl found murdered in Henderson more than 40 years ago has now at least been identified thanks to genealogy advances in DNA. And detectives have now known that the victim is a 17-year-old who went missing from New Mexico. It's an unsolved case, and News 3 has been following it for years now. As News 3's Denise Rosh explains, the hunt for answers goes on.
I was working homicide for several years, and this was just one that I basically took home with me.
John Williams never gave up hope.
Someday I knew that we would find out who she is.
Retired now from the Henderson Police Department, it was Williams who responded to a homicide scene back on October 5th, 1980. A young woman found beaten to death in the desert near Arroyo Grande and Lake Mead, a scene paved over long ago by I-215. A cold case that would haunt Williams for 41 years.
Because she had nobody there for her to find out who she was and to help her and everything.
But now Jane Arroyo Grande Doe has a name, 17-year-old Tammy Corinne Terrell from New Mexico. Advancements in science and technology, the key after Tammy's body was exhumed and evidence re-examined by Henderson detective Joe Ebert, including the victim's extensive dental work.
It's not something that if you had no insurance, if you had no money, you're not going to get that done.
We located 2 of Tammy's sisters who were able to confirm her identity when they supplied us with DNA.
While the area where Tammy was found looks considerably different today, clearly this case was never forgotten. Still, detectives know the work is only halfway done. Next step, identify the killer. That
Tammy was last seen at a restaurant in Roswell, New Mexico, after the Roswell State Fair on September 28th, 1980. She was seen with a white female and white male adult.
1 week later, she was dead. Eventually, it was Williams who helped pay for Tammy's burial, visiting the gravesite every year. 4 decades later, there is now hope for closure.
We know who she is.
If you know anything about the murder of Tammy Terrell, you can call Henderson Police or Crime Stoppers at 702-385-5555.
Hi, everybody. I'm Reed Cowan from News 3 Las Vegas. We want to thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. Remember, you can always see more of our videos by clicking on the video links. And also don't forget to click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our YouTube updates. Thanks for watching.